Here with head coach Jeff Knarr for the Jeff Knarr Coaching Show every Thursday at 11 a.m. And coach, coming off that tough game last weekend at Misericordia, obviously, one you'd love to have, but still some good things to take away from that game as you look back. Just what your thoughts on that contest up at Miz.
I mean, it was a good, hard-fought, football game. I mean, our kids played hard. They played, well for a lot, but we made enough mistakes, and then, at the end of the day, we just didn't finish. We didn't do some things enough at the end on, both sides of the ball, and allow them to have, an opportunity, and they maximized that opportunity. I mean, we had more opportunities than they did, and we didn't maximize and take advantage of our opportunities, and they took advantage of like the one they had there. And our kick game, we're a little disappointed in that, as it was at a real high the week before, and then we were at a low. This past week, that roller coaster ride, you never want that any year, your phases, and that's kind of where in special teams, and then offense and defense, spend this time looking at what prevent us from finishing, and how can we fix it and clean it up for this week.
Yeah, you talk about that. I mean, you look on one of those positives. I mean, your defensive unit's just been playing, extremely well. They forced, I think it's 11 3-and-outs over the last 2 weeks against Lyco and Miz. I mean, just talk about that group as a whole. I mean, we've talked about it kind of before, but just what you continue to see out of them.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with our D is a lot of times if you could stop people from running the football, and then you got a chance to make them kind of one-dimensional. When teams can run the ball, they can do whatever they want. They can throw when they want, and then you're constantly on your heels. So for us, it starts with being able to stop the run. We've had good run fits. Our DBs have come and done a great job of coming up and filling the proper way and the proper lanes and forcing the back to stop, and we're forcing guys to go east and west instead of north and south. So that's been really, really good, and then that puts people in behind the chains off schedule, and then we can kind of dial some pressure, and we like to have a few more sacks. We've been getting to the quarterback, forcing throws faster than they want to, and then we've been for the most part playing really solid coverage, so it's tight windows. So even though the quarterback, we're not sacking him, he's throwing before he wants to, he's rushed, and he's got a small window because the guys aren't wide open.
Yeah, you guys are. I mean, I think the good thing about the defensive unit this year that you're seeing is that A, they've been disciplined, but B, they're getting off the field. I mean, they're doing super well on third downs. What have you guys been preaching, especially in the offseason, but into the season about hey, we've got to get off the field? How do you guys get them to kind of take that mentality onto the field?
I mean, because we always talk about it, that's like the number one thing defensively we want to do is get off the field, get the ball back, to our offense. From there. So it's imperative to get on the third down, so then you can win third down and get off the field. So it's about doing your 111th, your one job, and it starts again with stopping the run. A lot of teams, you look at it first down. If they're a running type of team, they're probably going to run the ball. If you can, put them behind the sticks there, now it's 2nd and 7, or greater, and they want to throw it, and it makes it easier to dial things up from there. So our kids understand if they play well on first and second, gets the third down, and then our kids understand third downs, the money down and copy some other programs from that deal and things. And they know if they can get off the field and get the ball back to our offense. So they've done a good job the last few years with that, and this year really good. And even on Saturday, I think they were 33%, and that's that's near the top of the conference. On that third down conversion rate. So we've been very happy with that. We haven't been giving up the big play a ton of those much from there. And we said 11 3-and-outs. That's in they're getting off the field, which is awesome, because at the end of the day we want our defense to play a lot less plays than our offense, and that's kind of been the case so far.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about, I mean, on the other side of the ball, offensively, you guys continue to move the ball. I mean, you're moving the ball up. It's just that kind of finishing those last drives we've talked about in the past. What, from your side, as you go back and look at film, do you think it's, just more execution, or as you look at it, it's just kind of maybe some different scheming you guys look at, or what's different as you guys kind of go forward to maybe just punch those in?
What we all, it all starts with, us, the coaches. Like first we looked at, what we were, calling and the scheme, from there. And then, certain things maybe there, or make some changes that way, or, we think this was going to be good, but maybe it's not. And then it's about, execution to make sure the players understand the why of the play, what we're trying to do there, because we did have some breakdowns where, they were a little confused or unsure of things, and, then guys kind of came free, on the off the blocks to make a play. So then we got to make sure that we're, dotting the I's, across the T's, and then the guys understand the why of the play of these plays that are down as you get close to the low red zone. These are the plays you're hanging your hat on. You have a mentality, to finish, and then, create those situations in practice, which we do a lot in camp. You do some in the regular season, but not as, not multiple periods of it. So we kind of added a little bit more, to that, for this week, and then kind of moving forward to get that that idea that here we are, and now we got to find a way to finish. So it's kind of encompassed everything. We looked at what we were having on our play sheet that we thought we could get done down in the red zone, what was good, what maybe isn't, or we think was going to work that isn't, or what is working, and how we get on there. And then, hey, these plays would have worked if we would have done our job here. Do you understand the why? Make sure everyone understands what they got to do, why you got to do this, why you can't do what maybe you thought you do, so that we can execute better from there, and then put them in those situations so that it becomes second nature, and they don't have to, they can just react and not necessarily, think about it, and just constantly talking about that mentality. As like you said, we've been moving the ball really well. That should give you confidence, get excited, and getting close to the goal line. Then you got to have that kind of that killer instinct to finish the drive.
Coach, obviously you're 4 games into the season, and you're kind of seeing the season roll out as it is. I mean, how so far when you look back over the first 4 segment? I know it's kind of like 2 or 3 games, or sometimes even just 1. But when you look back at your first 4 games, I mean, how excited do you get, or how do you assess so far how things have been going?
Offensively, we sat and we had a goal of within the scheme of the offense. This is what like each year JD's been able to put more on his plate. So as you looked at increase his workload, like that's worked out perfectly. Like he's getting the touches that we thought he needed to. The natural elevation of his play as he's a year older, and that's been really, really well. As you pointed out last week, I mean, I had no idea he was up leading the country in rushing from there. He's catching passes out of the backfield. He's won the blocks. So everything's from that standpoint. In protecting the quarterback, Tyler has been playing really, really well. Trying to get him to continue to grow and build on what he's doing. So we're happy with him from there. And then just continue to try to work and develop and find ways to utilize Gabe. I mean, he's a threat catching the football and trying to find that right combination of how can we use his feet as well, and not just have to throw it to him all the time. If we can get that that done. So we're still working on that, but the other stuff is kind of been working well to what we kind of planned and practiced, and you're kind of seeing it on Saturday. And then defensively, we're a year older of a defense that was playing well as the year went on last year, and it was just about taking that next step, and so far they're getting off the field at third down on a high rate. Our coverages are tighter. We're creating turnovers, which an older experienced defense could, and we're still getting pressure on the quarterback even though our sacks are down, and we're trying to work on those things and look at what we're calling scheme wise there, getting our kids on again, understand the why of the pressure or the stunt, so that maybe we can turn some more pressures in the sacks that we like from that deal. But our tackling has been much improved from last year, so we're kind of seeing the things that you would think a defense that's a year older would do well at. They are, and then we are you're still trying to get that combination of veteran guys with young guys in the kick game, so it's still trying to work those things there. A couple of the concepts we're still struggling with a little bit, which is affecting. We're up and down. We'll get a great kickoff, then not so one. We get great kick coverage, not so good there. Our punt rush mug stuff has been pretty well, but judging the ball, that kind of thing, we're still inconsistent there. People haven't really given us much chance to run kick returns and kind of popping things up, but we've handled those well, but haven't had an opportunity to really pop one there. Punt protection has been solid and punting there, so we're kind of looking to still continue to improve that and use that as a weapon. They always want to win the hidden yardage. Don't give up momentum from the special teams, and then try to make a play when it's there from that deal. So there's still things to work on in that aspect as well.
Here with Jeff Knarr, head football coach at King's College, every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Coach, looking forward now to this weekend. You guys head down to Doylestown and take on the 2-time defending champions in the MAC. Delaware Valley ranked 13th in the AFCA and D3Football.com polls. Obviously a huge challenge for you guys, but a great opportunity for you to go down there and show what you guys are made of. What do you look at when you look at this Delaware Valley team? Where do you start? Like where's the initial starting thing where you really kind of need a game plan for?
I mean, one is their athleticism on all three phases. I mean, they have start with their defense. I mean, they're extremely athletic across the board in all 11 positions. They really run to the football well, and they're also very sound. They're very, they're fundamental with their blitzes. They're able to check things. They handle motions very well. And then they just get after it. So you got to be able to do your understand your job and be able to go out and do your job and then be physical. And then be able to get after them from that standpoint. And then the offensively, tremendous athleticism. Their offensive line moves well. Their quarterback's a very good runner. Receivers have great speed. They run downhill. They use a multitude of receivers and running backs, but they all have good speed, but they get downhill pretty quick. So again, it's about doing your job and being in the position to do that, not trying to do too much because you're playing a very good football team. So everyone basically just stay within the scheme of what we have, and all you got to do is your job and try to do it to the best of your ability. Anytime someone tries to do more than that, that's where they're going to be in a bad spot. And a team as good as Del Valle, the athleticism they have, they find ways to exploit that all the time.
Coach, I mean, it's going to be homecoming down there. The environment's going to be pretty crazy. I mean, does that excite your guys? I mean, when you think about, hey, we've got an opportunity to go down there and play in front of a big crowd on a day, like last week you played homecoming at Misericordia. It's 2 back-to-back weekends. Does that get your kids excited to go down there and really kind of test themselves against some of the best at this level? Yeah,
as we talked to the kids about, this is why you play, to be able to go and how good am I to measure yourself against the best. And it's our turn to play Del Valle, who right now is the best team in our conference. So we got a good check test and opportunity to see where we stack up and go from there. And then these guys play on Friday nights, high school football, and then no matter how good your program is or not so good on a Friday night, there's still that electric atmosphere at a high school football game. It's not as hard to replicate Saturdays at 1 when the crowds aren't there. That juice is there, so it's awesome. We tell them to embrace the crowds. Like they've always have good crowds when we play down at Del Valle. Whether we've played them in the middle of the year, the end of the year, or early in the year at their place, they always have good crowds. So homecoming, it's even going to be more so. So embrace the atmosphere because it's going to be a great atmosphere for football, and then embrace the opportunity that you have to go and play against the best from that standpoint. And right now, our kids are excited about that and had a good practice yesterday, looking for a good one today, to continue to build through the week to go out there and play their best on Saturday.
Coach, I asked you this before the preseason. I haven't had a chance to kind of re-up with you about it, but this year you've got a kind of a newer coaching staff, some new faces. You brought back obviously your 2 coordinators, but when you look at this group, I mean, how have you seen them grow together as a group, and how happy have you been with your coaching staff, especially and your assistants this year?
I mean, they've been doing a great job. I mean, they work well together, and like we try to talk about the young guys, is that everyone has a say, in the room. When they talk about things, we ask them to think the ideas through first on their own, and I just fire things that aren't within the scheme. But if it's within the scheme and you've kind of thought it through, you bring it up, and then everyone brings those opinions because the more people that have ideas and thoughts, then the more ways we can get to the correct solutions. It doesn't just fall on the one guy from there. But at the end of the day, like I tell them, they all have one vote. I have one more than all theirs combined, because you got to make decisions and you go forward from there. But we like the interaction that they've brought to it. They have, again, you look for guys that love the game of football, to have that burning desire to continue to coach and teach it to young people and can relate to young people. And our coaches are relating well to our players from there, and they're bringing ideas to the room. And then the young guys, part of learning the game is to doing the grunt work, and they've been on point, doing the not so glamorous aspects of the job, and then doing the best they can to teach the schemes to our kids, and it's been they've been doing a great job with that, and that's part of the process. And how you get to 3-1 is obviously everything's the information that we have is flowing well to our players, and that's credit to our coaches getting that done.
Coach, normally we finish every week with a little bit of a fun question. I kind of throw it out at you, but this week it is relevant for you. It's football relevant, and I think you might know where I'm going. So there was a high school football game that's been on, and then it was off, and then it was on, then it's off. Well, it's back on, and it's really big in the area. Wyoming area is taking on Southern Columbia this Friday up here in Wyoming, or Wyoming area, and I mean, for a test there, I mean, how big is that game gonna be in this area as this kind of Wyoming Valley, power goes down and takes on one of the Cole area's top teams?
I mean, I think one of them will be huge because, again, obviously for Wyoming, they have a very good football team, and they have a couple guys I know that are high level type recruits, and then they always have solid kids that run out Division II and Division III. I mean, they've been a proud program from this area here, and in Southern Columbia. that's what they are. I mean, for a small school, I think they have 4 guys that are D1, the best receiver probably in the country. So for them, they're looking for tests as they're getting close to the playoffs. I guess is how this game was on to get off again. I'm not quite sure the logistics of that, but that's above my pay grade. But to be able to put 2 teams there to test it, because that's how you want to measure when you're going to get to the states. And Pennsylvania, again, like I said before, we're top 5. In the country from high school football. So if you're going to, get to Hershey, in late November, late December, you got to be tested throughout the year. So this is going to be a great test for both of those guys, both of those teams. I think it'll be a huge crowd, and then it'll be a great reflection of Pennsylvania high school football. So I'm glad they were able to somehow get it on the schedule and play it, and it'll be a great game for both of them.
Jared Horn's dad, Tom Horn, commented Southern by 2 scores. So that's his.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Southern has just more firepower, but we'll see what happens in there. But it should be a good game. That again, Southern Company's looking for that test to how can they handle things when it's a close game and react to that. And then Wyoming, like then they get that opportunity to go down there and do something that many people aren't giving them a chance at. But they're a good football team, so they have a chance to see again how good they are as they prepare. I think this is week 8, right, in high school. I mean, it's hard to believe we're barely in October and season's winding down before the playoffs.
Coach, you gonna be able to make it over there on Friday night, or maybe not?
I don't know. It's a little. That's the time we get done with our practice and all. But a couple of coaches that local around here go to from there. I usually tend to head to games in the Valley from that deal.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time as always. Thursday morning at 11 a.m. we talked to Coach Jeff Knarr about the past week and this upcoming week. Coach, we'll catch up with you after Saturday's game at Del Val, but appreciate your time as always.
Thanks for having me.